Wow.
I went back in, and you can, when you open it up, you can do it, and you've already done it. It's
Like you had done it late.
Yeah.
When they all Sensei Kodo, how is my volume? Welcome everyone. Guests on Zoom, please keep your cameras off and volume muted during the ceremony. Roshi, would you like to offer a few words? Yeah.
So it's a very important day today for not only those who are kneeled with their hands together, but also for those whom our friends will be serving. Knowing that the path that you have chosen, which is to be a chaplain, a person of integrity, dedicated to deep and consistent practice, loving the Sangha, and as well, humble. Humility is such an important quality in this path that you are dedicating your life to, your whole life to. I'm so grateful that you have made this commitment, that you're not taking for granted the gravity of this empowerment, but that you recognize that with more authority, there is more responsibility. And with more responsibility, there is greater accountability. Accountability not only to others, to the community, but also in relation to your values, your life. So I invite us to relax, but I'm going to suggest that my dear sister in the Dharma also offer some words.
Good morning, my beautiful friends. These years that I've been able to be close to the chaplains and your hearts and work. I'm really filled with gratitude for, and as much as it's an ever unfolding path, if any group of beings is ready to meet themselves and the one beside them, it's you. And what I was thinking about this morning is the quality that you work with so beautifully, and Roshi teaches so beautifully, of strong back and open heart, soft front, that you bring to this work. So just thank you.
Ordinands, please rise. With a sincere heart and mind, please make a bow to the Buddha. With a sincere heart and mind, please make a bow to all those who have supported you. With a sincere heart and mind, please make a bow to Roshi and Sensei Monshin. We will now chant the Heart Sutra. There are chant cards underneath all of our cushions.
I have no script here, by the way. Thank you.
Those online, please stay muted. Magahanya Haramita Shingyo. honored guests, families, and recipients, I respectfully announce to everyone that the chaplaincy ordination and graduation ceremony will now begin.
I will now invite all of the energies that we practice with to witness this ceremony. So please, everyone, repeat after me. Being one with the Buddhas in the 10 directions.
Being one with the Buddhas in the 10 directions.
Being one with the Dharma in the 10 directions.
Being one with the Dharma in the 10 directions.
Being one with the Sangha in the 10 directions.
Being one with the Sangha in the 10 directions.
Being one with our principal teacher, Shakyamuni Buddha.
Being one with our principal teacher, Shakyamuni Buddha.
Being one with the great compassionate Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva.
Being one with the great compassionate Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva.
Being one with the great action Samantabhadra Bodhisattva.
Being one with the great action Samantabhadra Bodhisattva.
Being one with the great Manjushri Bodhisattva.
Being one with Manjushri.
Being one with Dogen Zenji.
Being one with Dogen Zenji.
Being one with Keizan Zenji.
Being one with Keizan Zenji.
Being one with all the great teachers in our Bodhisattva lineage.
Being one with all the great teachers in our Bodhisattva lineage. Ordinand, please make one bow.
Wishing to renew the precepts, you make atonement. There is a verse that was transmitted and maintained by the ancestors. Please, everyone in this space, let's chant it together. Having made atonement, you have purified body, speech, and mind. Now you will reveal yourself as the 3 treasures, which have the 3 virtues and merits of the one body, 3 treasures, the realized 3 treasures, and the maintained 3 treasures. When once you reveal yourself as the 3 treasures, all virtues and merits will be in complete realization.
Ordinands, you will now renew the precepts. First, the 3 treasures. Please repeat after Roshi, but saying being rather than be.
Be one with the Buddha.
Being one with the Buddha.
Be one with the Dharma.
Being one with the Dharma.
Be one with the Sangha.
Being one with the Sangha.
Be one with the Buddha, honored one.
Being one with the Buddha, honored one.
Be one with the Dharma, honorable for its purity.
Being one with the Dharma, honorable for its purity.
Be one with the Sangha, honorable for its harmony.
Being one with the Sangha, honorable for its harmony.
The Buddha has been revealed.
The Buddha has been revealed.
The Dharma has been revealed.
The Dharma has been revealed.
The Sangha has been revealed.
The Sangha has been revealed.
My dear friends, as you are renewing the precepts, affirming your commitment to follow a path of unvarnished compassion and unvarnished wisdom, I urge you, please do not follow false or misleading ways. From now on, the Tathagata Buddha, complete enlightenment and perfect wisdom are your guides. The question, will you maintain this?
I will.
Will you maintain this?
I will.
Will you really maintain this?
I will.
Recipients, please make one bow. And I apologize, I didn't realize our graduates were also renewing the precepts, and really we're all renewing them. So graduates online, thank you for staying with us. Next, you will receive the 3 pure precepts.
First, do no harm. Will you vow not to harm others or yourself and to live in not knowing as the source of all manifestations?
I will.
Second, do good. Will you vow to bear witness to the joys and pain of all life and clearly see what is without attachment or judgment?
I will.
Third, do good for others. Will you vow to invite all hungry spirits into your life and commit your energy and love to the healing of the earth, humanity, and all beings, including yourself?
I will.
These are the 3 pure precepts. Will you maintain them? Will you maintain them? Will you really maintain them?
Recipients, please make a bow. Next, Roshi will offer you the 10 pure mind practices.
Endeavoring to actualize your vows, will you engage in the practices of, first, recognizing that you are not separate from all that is. This is the precept of non-harming. Will you vow not to lead a harmful life and encourage others to not lead a harmful life, thus living in harmony with all life and the environment sustaining it?
being satisfied with what you have. This is the practice of non-stealing. Will you vow not to take anything not given? And will you practice contentment by freely giving, asking for, and accepting what is needed? Will you maintain this?
I will.
Third, encountering all creations with respect and dignity. This is the practice of chaste conduct. Will you vow to give and accept love and friendship without using or clinging?
I will.
I didn't get to say, will you maintain this? But that's okay. You decided to do it. Very good. We'll hold you to it. Okay. Fourth, listening and speaking truthfully with kindness. This is the practice of non-lying. Will you vow to communicate compassionately and constructively, purposely deceiving and harming no one? Well, will you maintain this?
I will.
Fifth, cultivating a mind that sees clearly. This is the practice of not being deluded. Will you vow to embrace all experiences directly without the many intoxicants of this world? Will you maintain this?
I will.
Six, realizing kindness. This is the practice of not talking about others' faults and errors. Bearing witness to what each moment offers, will you vow to realize that you are not separate from any aspect of life? Will you maintain this?
I will.
Cultivating humility. This is the practice of not elevating yourself and blaming others. Will you vow not to blame or judge others, nor compete with others, or covet recognition? Will you speak what you perceive to be the truth, practicing inclusiveness? Will you maintain this?
I will.
Eighth, being generous. This is the practice of not being stingy. Will you vow not to foster a mind of poverty in yourself or others? And will you use all the ingredients of your life, giving your best effort and accepting the result? Will you maintain this?
I will.
Ninth, transforming suffering into wisdom. This is the practice of not being angry. Will you vow not to harbor resentment, rage, or revenge, and let anger teach you? Will you maintain this?
I will.
10th, honoring life as a source of compassion and wisdom. This is the practice of not disparaging the three treasures. Will you vow to recognize that all beings, including yourself, are expressions of oneness, diversity, and harmony? Will you maintain this?
I will.
These are the 10 pure mind precepts. Will you maintain them?
I will.
Will you maintain them?
I will.
Will you really maintain them?
I will. Recipients, please make a bow.
These 16 precepts, the three treasures, The 3 pure precepts, the 10 pure mind precepts originated in the Sangha of Shakyamuni Buddha. And they have been transmitted through 82 generations of Buddhas and ancestors to me. Now, I once again have given them to you. Will you maintain them?
I will.
Will you maintain them?
I will.
Will you really maintain them?
I will. Recipients, please make a bow, and then you may sit comfortably. You should have your cushions off to the side.
I need to do Shasui, each one. Just invite the first one.
So Roshi will now ordain the chaplains. And each ordinand will be invited to step up, reflect briefly on their chaplaincy thesis and how they are actualizing their chaplaincy in the world today. First, in Jitsu, please step forward. Please make a standing bow to Roshi and then kneel in Shoki.
Please keep the mask on.
Okay. Well, my thesis and the reflection of that was written several years ago, and it was a focus and an exploration of how we can best support the Pueblo community here in New Mexico when they come to us at the end of life. And in that thesis, I was able to bring it forward to several communities, medical communities, and healthcare providers in Santa Fe. And my one small victory with that was to add traditional Native to the census, the religious census at the hospital, which was not there prior to my doing the thesis, and helping other people to see how to show up for all people, all beings, with the not knowing mind. And how I will bring chaplaincy into the world. Well, I started this journey 20 years ago when I sat with my dear beloved Edwin as he was dying, and then my mother, and I became very clear that death is sacred, and that the gata we say every night, life and death are of supreme importance.
And I have held that for these 20 years and continue to deepen that understanding and believe it became a calling for me, that not everybody can step into that space. And that I step into it with deep love and deep regard and deep humility and very much a don't knowing mind, because I really don't know what happens after we're gone. But holding that space as sacred, always as sacred. And how I carry my chaplaincy is by honoring my teachers who are here in front of me, and all the teachers in this room and not in this room. My ancestors and the people that I have yet to meet. So I will move out of hospital chaplaincy into hospice chaplaincy. I will step fully into the mandala of death and providing support and compassionate care and generosity around grief and fear and sadness and love, and not just doing hospice chaplaincy, but finding a way to help people beyond that. Like, how do we have conversations about death? How do we find our way when we're so scared of it to feel comfortable knowing that it's a great teacher and it reminds us every day that this moment counts, right? Like, without knowing about our death and befriending our death, how can we really fully be awake and alive and living? And so I'm deeply committed to this community, this Sangha, these bodhisattvas, all of you. Knowing that I have stumbled frequently and will likely stumble again, but coming back always to this moment, these precepts, this Sangha, these beautiful, wise and wondrous souls. And I think that's all I got. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you for your practice. Thank you for showing up in this world where our mortality is so little understood, and to bring the wisdom of your practice and experience forward as you come alongside those who are in anguish as they face their own mortality. It is a role that is so important to be actualized with great equanimity, deep, deep honesty, and with a sense of boundless love. Go well in this path ahead, and also, please, as we say to all of our chaplains, take good care of your own health, your situation, so that your life can be vital and you can benefit many.
Well, I'll say 3 words. I fully trust your heart and mind, and am grateful that you're giving so much to the world. That's what you were made for. Yeah, thank you.
Jitsu, you may stand. Miyoku, you may also stand and come up. Final bow to Roshi and Sensei Moshin. Miyoku.
I love you all so much. Thank you for everyone who's here in person and online. My paper was about being wholehearted and what being wholehearted meant for me during the beginnings of the pandemic. And the pandemic was an initiation of our relationship, my relationship with Upaya, and a deep relationship with not knowing. I remember jogging one day and calling you while I was jogging, Roshi. It was like, 2 or 3 months in for us. And I was crying and jogging, and you're on the other end of the line, and I said, Roshi, not knowing is my ballast. Actualizing chaplaincy for me in the world means being a loving mother and a good partner to Raiden's father, Chris. It means being at bedside with the sick and the dying. It means coming alongside those who are suffering addiction and trauma. It means stewarding the bodhisattvas that come through these doors for the 2-year training in Buddhist chaplaincy, of which I'm looking at you on the screen right now and your beautiful faces. Love you. It means taking care and nourishing myself. And it means the continual loosening of my own boundary. That I am the crying baby in Gaza. That I am the tree getting cut down in the Amazon. That I am the addicted. That I am suffering too. And that I continually come back to compassion again and again and again. And I stand here at the altar of my life with such gratitude and joy. And I thank you for your trust, Roshi. And I thank you for this community that's here. I'm so grateful. And I offer my life to this.
So, dear Mary, I want to thank Frank for bringing our lives together. I knew when we met that your extraordinary heart, your integrity, had such clarity that those who would enter this path of chaplaincy, as you already were one, but all of those would be the beneficiary of your extraordinary character. Plus, we have fun. And knowing what you went through during the pandemic, seeing out of your window as you served in this enormous hospital, the refrigerator trucks filling up with bodies. And you never missed a beat in taking care of our chaplain candidates and of watering the seeds of this training so it could be strong for all those who stepped into it. That respect and that courage is something that is at the heart of every chaplain to be actualized, hopefully. But you have actualized it so sincerely and truly. For this, I'm grateful.
Thank you, Yoku. You may bow. And Diodu, you may step up. Please make a standing bow to Roshi and then kneel.
I'm greatly honored to be here today. I want to thank you, Roshi, and Monshin, and the Sangha for this support and this honor. My journey as a chaplain, even though I didn't know it, began a relatively long time ago by working with inmates at federal institutions in Canada. It was that prompted me to come here and do the chaplaincy program. And you know, at the beginning, when I met others who were cohort ahead, they said, "What are you thinking of doing for your thesis?" And I was so sure I knew. Oh, of course, I'm going to write about prison work. And they said, "Well, don't be so sure. It may change." And with some sort of overinflated sense of ego, I thought, oh, no. Sure enough, it did. It did as I encountered the first year of the chaplaincy program, which we all call inner chaplaincy work. And I had to deeply examine myself, my path, why I wanted to do this work. And I discovered many things, some of them not pretty, about myself and how I related with the world. One thing that I discovered that was very important and key and eventually manifested in my thesis was my fear, deeply held fear of many things. One of them was the fear of dying, the fear of death. And when I discovered that, I also discovered at the same time that I'm not alone in this. And the inmates that I am working with, some of them will never get out. Some of them that I sit with have been in prison for over 30 years, are now coming to the point where they're facing their mortality. And my thesis changed to speaking about the lack of palliative care in Canadian prisons, the lack of hospice, the absolute absence of any kind of pain maintenance. And that has become a big mission in my life. This is how I am actualizing my chaplaincy. This is how I'm going forward by advocating for the incarcerated to have the same human rights that are nationally entrenched in our country as the average citizen, the right to MAID, medical assistance in dying, palliative care, and so on. But somehow it's not available to these people. It's a difficult fight, and sometimes I encounter my own fear. But this program, this chaplaincy program, has given me the strength to carry on. And I so appreciate that. I appreciate Upaya for that so very, very much. I thank you from the bottom of my heart.
I want to express gratitude on behalf of the Sangha for your determination and your humility. Two really important qualities of a chaplain. And working in such a raw environment as you have been serving in for so long, and coming into that environment as you do with a real sense of not knowing, of openness, just as you entered into the chaplaincy training here. And working in the field of incarceration, corrections, whatever we call it, to have a chaplain like you who has looked deeply at mortality and who understands the suffering of those who are facing their death inside and advocating for humaneness in what is usually a fairly inhumane institution. So thank you so much. Thank you for your practice.
Thank you, Ryudo. You may stand and bow. Anzan, please step forward.
So, Roshi.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. I was looking at your hair. Sorry, I got lost in Anzan's hair. He's got, it looks like you're really awake. What would I do without you, Noah, to keep me on track? You get 3. And also, Anzan's eyes. Okay, Anzan.
So, I wrote a thesis on dividedness as a foundational aspect of our being, and as a way to find, to come to terms with that through both psychoanalysis and Buddhism. It sounds very nerdy. It also is very nerdy.
It was.
Yep.
Sorry.
Being a chaplain in Belgium makes you, per definition, a bit of an outlaw. So I've been doing undercover chaplaincy work, almost a full-time job, for the past couple of years in several settings, mostly end-of-life care and hospital elderly care. I've also done CPE in New Orleans, and I continue to do so. Actualizing chaplaincy to me means being a decent human being, being very real, being honest, and being kind. And above all, this is an incredible honor. It is a way for me to affirm and to commit firmly to a path of sincere care and sincere service. I also wanted to thank Karen Goebel, who has been a rock for the last couple of years. And also the people on this side and on the other side of the big blue puddle who had my back. It's such an honor, Roshi, and I think you know how much it means to me. It means the world to me. So thank you.
Oh, it was very nice to finally meet you in person. I know it's a long way from Belgium. It's a shorter way from New Orleans. So when you do your next CPE round, it'll be easier for you to get here and you know what you're getting into. I was so moved, I will tell you, by in your first year sharing this journey of coming alongside this person who was facing the end of their life. And I recognized that you had immense sensitivity and also just the kind of respect of others' experience, no matter what it was, to actually sit in the charnel ground with dignity. So I'm very grateful that finally we get to meet face to face, warm hand to warm hand. It is true, your thesis was very nerdy. I thought I was back in graduate school. Oh my. But we have to have one of those oddballs every once in a while to actually keep us honest, to manifest the academic rigor that we have to hold all our students to. But you surpassed academic rigor, my dear. No problem. And also, I appreciate so much your great tenderness. Just a dear human being, so brave, stepping out of the kind of narrowish world of the flatlands, so to speak, the lowlands into the highlands of your better nature. Thank you for your practice. Thank you for your commitment. And sorry for getting lost in your hair. I apologize.
Anzan, you may stand and bow. Dinan, you may step forward.
Thank you. Thank you, Marcia. And thank you to all the teachers in chaplaincy, so many of them. And I just want to mention Alan in particular. Yeah, given so much to this program and all I've learned in chaplaincy. Always remember his North Star is, I will not abandon you. And that always touched me so much. And of course, thank you to Mary, who put up with me. Mary and Karen in particular, who put up with me in my year of lateness. While I was working with, the finishing my project and all my papers. Mary called me a few months before all the deadline and was like, "Are you really gonna finish this?" Yeah, but they put up with me and I got it done finally. But my thesis or my project was the book I wrote for clinicians, and it's really just all the lessons I've learned from chaplaincy, actually, all of them, and packaged into a way that clinicians can hear. That was my goal. And so it's just much gratitude to all the things I've learned in chaplaincy to be able to do that. And to bring this work to people who really need it, to people who face suffering, witnessing suffering every day, but don't have the tools to work with it within themselves and in their work. So, and then going forward, just bringing this work out more and more, but also seeing what else needs to be done. As you know, we know there's so many ways of chaplaining, and it's just the one-to-one interactions, but also looking at how else I can serve in the world. So, thank you.
Well, dear Dinan, it's just so moving to have borne witness to your journey over these 4 years as you entered into not only chaplaincy, but also to a full religious life. And you are, I can speak from experience, one of the kindest, most conscientious persons I have ever met. Monchen mentioned to one of your cohort here, having faith in you. I have such faith in you. We know each other well. You poor thing. You have the amazing capacity and psychophysical energy to actually be in the midst of such suffering and complexity, and to come alongside in a way that is characterized by respect and dignity and care. Thank you for your practice and for your deep Dharma friendship. It makes me very happy to put this Wagesa on you. It's an honor, and I hope your mother forgives me.
I have to tell her.
I know. Sorry. But anyway, the power really of your work of coming alongside your clinician peers, not only as a doctor, but as a chaplain, a doctor of the soul. The work is so important. And I thank you for you persisting in the way that you have.
Roshi, would you like to say a few words?
So, dear friends, there is a word I have referenced many times over the months, and that word is appamata, which I have chosen to sit with its definition as conscientiousness and care. It is also often translated as vigilance or heedfulness. And I would suggest in the path ahead, in addition to conscientiousness and care, heedfulness is really essential. It is so easy to personalize. It is so easy to fall into the trap of unmet needs. It is so easy to lose the thread of vows that you have taken. And this is true for all of us in this room and online. And if you take one thing from today, it is to actualize appamata as the protector, not only of yourself, but of those whom you serve and those whom you work with. The other piece that I feel is so important as you settle into carrying the title of Reverend, as you sit with that role in our society, is humility. To always see that we're coming alongside, not imposing on others, and that we have the opportunity also as chaplains to ask those whom we serve for forgiveness when we have been unskillful. And we have heard over the years from so many patients about the kind of complexity that they've experienced interacting with chaplains. And I just say, we are, all of us in this training, committed to actually working that edge in a way, visioning what it means to be a chaplain in a very broken world. So you will go forth in different ways. It's wonderful. Being with dying, being with the sick, being with the incarcerated, being with those also who are gravely ill, and being with clinicians. Meeting a world where pain and suffering and anguish, but also a lot of extraordinary learning will happen, person by person, through your experience. And also to understand that Upaya is here as the Mother Temple to be a resource to you, a place where we can all continue our training and where we can affirm the value of Sangha and meet each other honestly and in an unvarnished way with kind of the heart of courage and of the heart of wisdom. So my gratitude to you for making the request for ordination and taking the risk of having the sort of light shine upon you fiercely. Because when you step out of here with this empowerment, as I said, you're a much bigger target for difficulties, for complexity. Every empowerment creates a different kind of vulnerability, and touch into that vulnerability as you move forward to serve those who are also so vulnerable. Thank you for your practice. Thank you for your commitment in receiving the vows. And thank you for your relationship to the Sangha.
Thank you, Roshi. So we can all stand, stretch our legs for a moment.
Wonderful. So thank you all for renewing the precepts with us, and we will now begin the graduation ceremony for honored candidates of the Upaya Chaplaincy Training Program. So as your name is called, we will spotlight your video with Roshi and Mary, and we will ask you to please offer a few words. Do you guys want to come in? We're starting. Some guests are arriving. Okay, so to begin, Kaylin, Koshin, McKee, Nikwe, I'm sorry, Nikwe. So Kaylin, the title of your thesis is A Learner Waits, Engaging the Three Tenets to Support Sacred Waiting in a Level 1 Trauma Center.
Hi, Roshi. Hey, Mary. During my time in this program, I served as a chaplain resident in a Level 1 Trauma Center, a children's hospital, and a community hospital, supporting people as they experience moments of profound and often terrifying waiting. my paper explores the ways the three tenets became the ground of my chaplaincy practice as I waited with them.
I'd love you to share a little bit more, if you will.
Yeah, of course. I was a resident and I had a rotation in each of those spaces. And the three tenets, not knowing, bearing witness, and compassionate action were really the thing that I could rely on and trust to guide me through my encounters with people, patients and families and staff, as they were in moments where they were going through changes that they didn't know were going to happen, and that were painful and scary. And so I used the three tenets to sort of ground myself and my practice, and fill me with compassion as I waited with them to guide the support that I gave.
Wonderful. Mary, why don't you reflect first?
Malin, I know you do not like speaking in front of groups.
That's true.
I know you have an inherently shy heart in a way, but you also have an incredibly intelligent, courageous, compassionate heart. Your reflection papers over the past 2 years were some of the most beautiful. And I'm just grateful that you're on this path as a chaplain. And I only encourage your voice and your leadership along the way, because you're a natural leader too. So deep bow to you.
You know, when I was looking at the focus of your thesis, and I realized how waiting, you know, everybody waits in the world that you're a part of. But our attitude toward waiting is so different. And that the power of being able to pause deeply, to sit with not knowing instead of just striking out from the place of the algorithm or what you know, or even what your experience is. It's wonderful what you're opening up, this door of pausing, the door of waiting. And not only do chaplains and clinicians have to wait, but patients and families too. So framing waiting in the way that you have, I think, is just extraordinarily valuable. I thank you truly for your wisdom in doing exactly that.
Thank you, Kaylin. Next is John Palin, The Spiritual Care of Persons Engaged in Violent Actions, exploring a Buddhist chaplain's practice of entering all realms.
Oh, there we go. Greetings. Thank you. And Roshi, thank you for such a beautiful ceremony. It was very powerful, very moving. And Mary, congratulations deeply. So my thesis project is an examination of Buddhist teachings and practices to address the challenges that I've had as a chaplain working with very specific patients, and particularly the patients that have been engaged in violent actions, which is a difficult and conflictual issue for me. So what I have taken from the project, and as a chaplain, and there are a number of things, I kind of distilled into a couple main areas. And one, and probably the most important, is the importance as a chaplain to recognize the common humanity or my interconnectedness with the patient. And in doing that, what comes out of it is the understanding of my shared experience with them. So my shared experience being that I too have been violent. I have been violent in different ways and expressed at different times. And holding those two pieces together, common humanity and shared experience, I come alongside that person looking through a compassionate lens, which is innate and naturally arising. It's inactive, it's non-judgmental, it's not dismissing them because of what they've done or what they said or what they believe or whether I like them or not. And in that compassion, I find the expression of bearing witness to be such a critical act to begin the process of that compassionate action itself. So bearing witness to be present to them, in their suffering. So this has been an extraordinary and transformative journey for me. And I think that these elements of interconnectedness and shared experiences are two of the things that really emerged out of this project. So thank you.
Thank you, John. I was very honored to be a part of your project and just deeply respect the courage that you have taken to really turn toward some of the most fearful aspects of our humanity, that which expresses itself as violence, and how you really kind of detangled the complexities of that, landing into a larger view that is infused with compassion and infused with a deeper understanding. You have been incredibly generous over the past 2 years. Your writing was always so rich and honest and upfront. And I just really appreciate your integrity and what you're bringing forth as a chaplain in the world with such a full heart, such a courageous heart. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Dear John, I mentioned the other day that you sent me this beautiful plaque called Hope, with hope on it. And that is how I experience you in the terms of working with people who would be deemed lost souls. And your capacity to actualize hope and faith is extraordinary. I'm very proud to have you in this moment of graduation and taking your skill and wisdom to that world, which is so vulnerable and also so dangerous. So thank you so much.
Gun. Janet Brown, normalizing conversations around death, loss, and grief.
Roshi, Joan, and Mary, thank you so much for this amazing experience these past 2 years. It's been incredible. My capstone project explores the merit of Buddhist chaplaincy to facilitate and provide safe containers to have conversations around death, loss, and grief that are rooted in our practice and can ease suffering in all spaces. So I helped co-lead 2 programs at the Minnesota Zen Meditation Center, my spiritual home, for 13 years. And my findings and surveys and in-person interviews indicate that these programs really do help support people to normalize these conversations and help facilitate integration and healing in their lives.
Thank you, Janet. I was thinking about you, and I was feeling that the legacy of your mother is the legacy of your work and service in the world, and is one of the major heart-opening events that is leading you to a deeper path of compassion and helping others who are struggling with end of life and grief. And I had this image of you on a boat, helping people onto your boat, helping them cross the troubled waters, and bringing another raft to the other side, just going back and forth. I really appreciate your rising mind and your open spirit to life. I feel that you're a shining woman, and I'm just grateful that you're bringing light to sorrow. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mary.
You know, the work you're doing from my perspective is so extraordinarily important. It's
the renormalization of the truth of our mortality and also the sacredness of the time of dying. And I'm so grateful for what you have brought to this work and will continue to bring.
Thank you. Thank you both.
Sandy Height, the role of the chaplain in supporting the decreased suffering of victims and survivors of intimate partner violence.
Roshi and Mary, what a beautiful moment. And to all my cohort members. I focused on the troubling, pervasive, and heartbreaking phenomena of domestic violence, intimate partner violence, because I believe that our space and our relationship with our intimate partner should be safe and loving, not threatening. The Buddhist tenets of not knowing, bearing witness, and compassionate action informed my work. It got me off the cushion and into the world and out of my head. Also, heavy doses of humility and vulnerability arose and stayed with me and are still with me. Humility, because where I wanted to serve really didn't want me and didn't know what to do. So I hang in there with humility until we all kind of figured it out. And secondly, vulnerability. If I can't be vulnerable in this world, in my relationships, and as I step in alongside victims of suffering, how can I expect them to be vulnerable with me in trying to be alongside and give them some support and suffering? So that's the beauty of my last 2 years.
Sandy, the muddier you get, the more beautiful you get. And I just encourage you to keep playing in that mud, because that's where you shine. And this topic of domestic violence is close to me as well, because I'm starting to bear witness to more of this in my hospital. I just had a woman come in a couple of weeks ago into our ED who was shot by her boyfriend an hour before, mortally wounded, and working with the deconstruction and the deep suffering of the family. And with our changing mental health well-being in this country and around the world, we're going to see more and more and more of this. So your work has such a place and such a timing. And I thank you for meeting it.
Dear Sandy, I was so moved and so grateful that you had the courage to journey into this experience of domestic violence that has ended the life of so many women. And it's the first time that, as I recall, that we have addressed this to the degree that you have in the chaplaincy training. And I can think of no more brave role and important role that one could actualize than to come alongside someone whose trust has been completely betrayed and has been subjected to violence. So thank you for your courage and for this work. And I think what Mary said, I'm smiling because in a way you took the elevator out of your head and ended up in your heart in a way that is bringing a kind of sensibility forward in you, but as you spoke during your thesis presentation, we could feel that this was not just about the analysis of statistics, but this was about love. So thank you so much.
Andy. I was going to go to Anya because she was there, but we'll just stay with the order. Christian Zeitumel, A Death Doula's Journey Meeting Buddha Along the Way.
Thank you, Roshi. Thank you, Mary. My paper is in essence the story of my life and how I came from being born and raised in a communist country all the way to end-of-life care Buddhism and Upaya's chaplaincy training some 55 years later. It deeply contemplates on my own suffering and that of others, and has allowed me today to walk alongside the dying. The teachings of the last 2 years enable me to go in and sit with the dying with confidence, strength, and a deep knowing that I can. I see my job or my path in empowering these families to find their own strengths and journey with their dying people. It's not my part to journey, it's their part. And my goal is to empower these people and to bring death and dying back into the homes and into the families.
Christiane, I've been very moved to walk alongside you over the past 2 years, and felt honored to also be welcomed into some of your struggle and deep question, and really was humbled to bear witness to your really being with yourself in a very deep and authentic way. Chukai was a real moment and continues to be. And the strength that you're helping others find, of course, is only a mirror to you and the strength that you're discovering in you and embodying in yourself. And I just want to honor also the healing of the transgenerational trauma that you are enacting with your life and with your service. My deepest gratitude.
Well, I want to thank you for your honesty. As Mary said, you said honest quite a few times. And I think that really is, you never held back about your reservations and about your concerns, and also the fact that your history has had a deep effect on how you're able to receive the teachings and processes associated with a spiritual community and a spiritual view. But look at this, you did it. You didn't join a club. You became more of who you really are, and also connecting with a community of people who really care about the well-being of others. So I thank you, because I'm sure that the writing of your thesis was really challenging and brought up so many issues for you. And the thing that is so beautiful, you persevered. You showed up. Thank you so much for your practice. Thank you for your braveness.
Thank you.
John. Anya Powers, Learning Through Lineage, a Zen Buddhist approach to chaplaincy supervision.
My project researched the wisdom of Zen teachers from Buddhist time into today and distilled at least pieces of that wisdom into a new model for clinical supervision that is or hopes to be and tries to be process-based and relationally focused and really centers the wisdom and insight of students themselves as the foremost part of learning and growth. And hopefully that process ends up benefiting patients and families and staff who those student chaplains go on to serve.
Anya, thank you for the humility that you imbue in how you teach and in how you are. I feel that what you are lifting up through your final project is kind of the new wave of how chaplaincy education can be. And I can only imagine what my own experience would have been like had I had a teacher like you. So I feel very connected to you and to supporting you in any way that I and Upaya can to support this work forward into the world and to offer more equanimous, nourished, and whole educational experiences for chaplains in training. Thank you very much for this work. It's just beautiful. Thank you.
Well, I think Mary knows deeply, as do others who have done CPE, how important your work is. And it was really uplifting for me to know that you had plunged into this in the way that you did, because as chaplains move through the training at Upaya and many will move into CPE. CP is really important in terms of the chaplain experience. And it is in a process of moving out of this old model. And you are part of that movement, and it's a great gift. Thank you, Anya, so much.
Anya. Linda Seligman, How CPE Educators Can Support Their Buddhist CPE Students.
We can't hear you, Linda.
Oh.
There you go. Now you're unmuted.
Thank you. So I really wish I had had Anya as one of my supervisors as well. That would have made a world of difference, because I probably wouldn't have written my project if I'd had her as a supervisor. So I developed a handbook for clinical pastoral educators so that they can better serve and support their Buddhist CPE students like myself. I did interviews with students to find out what they thought would be helpful, and also educators to see what they noticed in their students, what was easier for them, what was more difficult, so I could get a sense from both sides what the scene was and how we could support Buddhist students. And this is work that I love, working in a hospital and working alongside people. And I noticed that I've come to a few conclusions. One is that love is bottom line with everyone, that it takes patience to have patience or to cultivate patience. And we need to draw on our wisdom to endure what is so, so difficult. And no separation was really, really important for me, to be connected and flow into people, no matter who they were. And I use the 3 tenets all the time. And I let my educator look at my project, and I was in a supervisory meeting with him, and I was talking about judgment and how to frame judgment from others. And I paused, and he said, "Compassion?" I was like, "Yes, that's exactly it. Compassion. Thank you." And I think that was because he read my project. So, so I think from my own little experience there that it can really work. It can be really helpful. And I just want to thank you both. You've been awesome. The insight and intelligence and pure heart has been just really been the wind under my wings to get through CPE. And I just very deeply thank you.
Thank you, Linda. I feel like your story is kind of a banner story of many Buddhist chaplains in training in CPE, feeling isolated, feeling kind of foreign, feeling like lost in language and how to share language in a way where we can really communicate and understand each other. And you really entered into those complexities in this final project. And I really also appreciate the spiritual formation that you took to heart over the past 2 years. In particular, your authentic voice and how to be in your own authenticity at the bedside, especially in the act of prayer. And it's a rich conversation for many Buddhist chaplains, and I just really appreciate how you just dug in there and got into what is this for me and who am I when I'm praying? Very deep questions that you really took on. So I just want to honor that and that courage that you've got, and only encourage your ongoing training in CPE and your path in chaplaincy. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, as you can imagine, these two theses really are important for us, because as Buddhist chaplains move through this training with a strong emphasis on the precepts and also on direct practice realization, and translating the terminology in the way that you have, and it's just invaluable. So I really I'm so grateful for what you and Anya both have done to help shift the culture a little bit in the field of chaplaincy. It's really important. And again, this is the first time that we've had people concentrate, bring the work of CPE into focus and address issues relating to changing the culture of that training process. And I remember we had a wonderful Sikh woman in the chaplaincy training who did CPE and had a really difficult time with that process because her views were not shared by those who had a different religious perspective. So this is going to change. Chaplaincy is about interfaith. So may it really be about interfaith. And this, what you and Anya have done, can help that happen. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Jill Greenbaum, Trusting Whispers, My Journey to Zen Buddhist Chaplaincy.
Good to see you again. My project illustrated some of the steps on my journey to beginning and becoming a Buddhist chaplain in the Zen tradition. I shared my thoughts, questions, joys, frustrations, challenges, discoveries, and learning in the genre of graphic memoir, which became another tool for self-reflection. One unanticipated result of my choosing to share the visual stories I created about my learning was inspiring colleagues in my CPE cohorts to explore their creativity in chaplaincy in new and different ways.
Thank you, Jill. I appreciate the whimsy that you offer into chaplaincy and the way that you put your art together to the arts of caregiving and how you use art as a medium of communication in ways that are very palatable, very understanding, and very just very accessible. And I know too that you're still young yet in this kind of path of Buddhism and Buddhist chaplaincy and what is this actually for you? And I'm very grateful that these past 2 years have been part of your beginnings, and I hope they further ground your path ahead. Very grateful for your work, and I only encourage your artistry and its interplay with your service. It's a beautiful mix that you're offering. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. That's such a wonderful characterization of what Jill has done. You know, I think also so often we don't use memoir or you know, it's so chaplaincy in a certain way so outward facing and using art, reflection, memoir, and so on. It's just a really powerful medium for deepening our experience of what it means to serve others and to do so in a way where our, you know, our narratives are liberating, not constraining. So just great thanks.
Thank you, Roshi.
All right, Gatsu. Carrie Brief. Overcoming biases through compassion, an investigation of our own suffering to overcome separation.
Hello, Roshi. Hello, Mary. Congratulations, Mary.
Thank you.
I'm so honored to be a part of this program. I came to this program and I applied after doing a unit of CPE at UNC hospitals, and similar to Linda, experienced just a disconnect between my Buddhist path and views and the way I offered care and related to people and what I was learning there. And I had hoped to come to this training and learn more about Buddhist chaplaincy, which I certainly have. But I think what I most learned is that this is the path for me. This is where I belong. This is what I, and I came to this path, and what my paper is about exploring my own suffering, beginning as a child, physical suffering, emotional suffering, and that through that suffering and coming into sobriety, being able to help suffering people as an adult. And what I learned through my practice and my meditation practice, reflective practice, that compassion can be learned. And I was able to develop compassion for myself, and through that, compassion for others. Thank you so much.
Oh, Carrie, I feel like your life is like this embrace that you've learned to give to your own suffering, which is now becoming an embrace out to the world, and that you're the conversion point, you know. What suffering you have contained and experienced, you have brought deeper understanding and love to, and now you are the comport, you are the place, you are the person to offer deep understanding and love to others who are experiencing deep suffering too. I said this before, but I feel like your project could have been called Living by Vow. And I really just bow to you and the way that you walk your life, and how deeply you live by vow and live by the precepts, and how you live by your heart. It's been such an honor to walk along with you. And I just think you're great. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Dear Carrie, I just want to uphold your humility. Truly, it's just been an inspiration over the time that you've been in this training, how honest you have been around the challenges, and also how you have learned and brought that learning forward to others. So I'm so grateful for what you are doing and what you will be doing as a chaplain in the path ahead. Thank you for your practice.
Thank you, Roshi.
In Ernest Ng, Buddhist perspective on healing collective intergenerational trauma.
Dear Roshi, Mary, Sanghas, and friends, trauma has become a crucial field to explain many aspects of human suffering. We are living in a traumatized society, a traumatized culture, a world of suffering, the samsara. Collective intergenerational trauma affects many beyond time and space, often without the affected realizing it. In this training program and in my CPEs, I realized that many people are shadowed and trapped by collective intergenerational trauma, including myself, my parents, and my blood ancestors. This thesis attempts to connect the key concepts of trauma with the Buddhist teaching, presenting areas of potential contributions of these teachings and practices, particularly the 16 practice of Zen peacemakers, to the understanding and healing of collective intergenerational trauma. Gratitude to everyone making this journey an amazing one.
Thank you so much, Ernest. I just deeply respect you and this final project and the endeavoring to really face clearly and openly the open wounds of your past family and culture, country, home, and really having a beautiful way of articulating that as it relates to your spiritual formation, and in particular, the precepts. And I want to just say that your tears that fell during your presentation, I will never forget, and I hold as sacred. And that journey that you've made from the heart, from the mind to the heart, I feel that, I feel your warmth has grown immensely over the past 2 years. And I feel you. I feel so much more of you now. And I'm so grateful to know you. Thank you.
Thank you for your courage, Ernest. Not only to turn toward historical suffering, but how that suffering's transmitted through generations and how it has touched your life. And as the training unfolded the past few years, seeing, this transformation in you, a kind of softening, as Mary said, from the head to the heart. And I think that's one of the things that about the training and why inner chaplaincy is so important. You and Sandy and others who've made that leap, not turning away from your expertise. You're brilliant. Your academic research is, superb, but discovering, seeing, and sharing how, through your own experience, how this work with historical suffering and trauma is really important in your life, but in the lives of so many who have been subjected to depredations that are hard even imagine. Thank you for your practice. Thank you for your work.
Thank you, Nyokai. Caitlin Welby, A Path Home Toward Wholeness, Transformational Silence and Deep Presence Through Zen Chaplaincy and Brain Spotting.
Hi, Roshi. Hi, Mary, and everybody. While I'm very grateful for the challenging opportunity I had to try and synthesize and consolidate the most important and meaningful parts of these two modalities for me, I can't possibly focus on that as being the crux of the training. The 3 years that we spent together, some of us literally, some of us not, was wildly reformative for me and sometimes delightfully destabilizing. So I'm walking away right now with the larger picture of that. And while I was so challenged with articulating what I was trying to articulate in the thesis, there was a layer 2 learning there that I didn't get to really write about, which I think some people will resonate with, which is masked neurodivergence in academic and accrediting bodies. And so I really have a lot of material that I'm walking away with as I move into more CPE and even a demon, it looks like, with a creative thesis. It's really informed how I sit with patients or clients in my private practice and with myself, and how to move through the world as a practitioner and an artist first, and certainly a researcher and an academic second. So that's something I didn't get to share before, but I'm sitting heavily with right now.
Mm-hmm. Caitlin, thank you for that. I really appreciate your lifting up that tenderness and what feels unfinished or uncomfortable or maybe not fully expressed yet. And I really understand this training program is just 2 years. And a lot happens in that time, but it's also the beginning of more doorways that are going to continue to open. And so my prayer and invitation and hope for you is that your relationship to Buddhist chaplaincy only continues to drop into your life and your body and your heart and your articulations. And I offer myself to you anytime to talk and reflect and flourish. So thank you very much. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Mary.
Caitlin, I have to thank you. I'd never heard of brain spotting until you. So obviously, I'm not au courant in this whole field, but I just thank you for introducing me to the work, and what an interesting perspective to bring into chaplaincy. I think it's very valuable. And your reflection on the process that you're in as you move into CPE. I'm grateful Mary has said, she will be there as a resource, and Upaya also I want to offer as a resource. It's such an amazing place. And as we heard from a few of our wonderful people who just talked, the CP process is a culture and change. And I think your work will be part of that change in a very interesting way. So thank you so much.
Jim Hunsiker, a fire chaplaincy grounded in Buddhism, building a fire chaplaincy program with skillful means.
I developed a fire chaplaincy program for my local community as a way to help it. And part of that was to help the community itself and be something that others can use as a model if they choose to start a fire chaplaincy in their small community. And this will be, I'll be going forward as the chaplain for the fire department, as well as continuing to take care of the unhoused with my medical clinic and visiting men in prison. Thank you for all the care and teaching that you gave us.
Jim, you did a big thing in a little community, and it took a big heart to do that. And I just really value, again, how you really are paying attention to what's happening in your backyard and meeting a need to instantiate a spiritual care system in the fire department there. And you really did work in a systems level way to kind of correct the wrongs that were going on there and make it more whole, make it more balanced and equitable for everyone, no matter what faith they were having or not having. So I just appreciate the pioneering of that, and your ability to show up is very, very obvious about you. You're one who really knows how to show up. So thank you for that, and thank you for a beautiful 2 years together. Deeply value you and your work.
Jim, this is the first time we've heard anything about fire chaplaincy. So it's just, this particular group of people has done some, groundbreaking work in the program. I'm so grateful. It makes absolute sense that chaplains serve in this world of fire. I was so moved and so grateful. I mean, as I mentioned yesterday, having worked in 1970 in the burn unit, I'm acutely aware of the intensity of the experience of tending to people who are catastrophically burned and the effects on clinicians, not just family members and the person who's suffering. So thank you for bringing this aspect forward in our training. Deep appreciation.
Thank you, Roshi.
Jim. Rick Merrill, Space, Form, and Mischief. Continuous pilgrimage of return to place, the present, and presence.
Hello, Roshi. Hello, Mary. Thank you for that just beautiful ceremony, and congratulations. It was a privilege to be present, Mary.
Thank you.
I was a Sangha member and teacher in the Shambhala community for many, many years. And not so many years ago, I, as well as many other Sangha members, left formally the community because we felt very betrayed by some things that had happened. And kind of coinciding with that time period, I retired from teaching in university. And I found myself feeling kind of vacant and groundless. And I just thought of the term from one of our trainings of ambiguous loss, and a kind of unrequited longing to give. And I feel like I'd had a quite privileged life, fortunate to have wonderful teachers and opportunities. And that's when I came upon the Upaya program. And I hoped that through the program, I would be able to kind of assemble and distill what skills and that I have developed over my life and be able to somehow give them back. And that was the motivation for my capstone, to bring together practices, meditation, contemplative practices, movement, embodiment practices, artistic activities, explorations in nature, all things that have all been very important to me in my life, and offer them in workshops for first responders, firefighters, social activists, teachers, people who work in difficult circumstances, in the hopes that this kind of experience could be healing, creating community and support, rejuvenation. And then when these folks go back to their lives, they'd have these practices to draw upon as resources. That's what I've been trying to do and what I hope to do.
Rick, I love your final project. And I tell you, I think you're creating something called embodiment chaplaincy. And it's such a beautiful expression of you and your passion, your life work, and your spiritual wisdom, and your spiritual practice all coming together. It's such a great integration of things. And the particular work that you're lifting up also is meeting the embodied trauma, collective trauma that we're all carrying. And so I really feel that this work is like a medicine for our times. And I'm just so encouraging of you to move forward. And we're here to support you on the path. And I know this path too has included moments of great doubt. And I thank you for sitting with it openly and with such grace and creating something so powerful as you come now to completion. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Mary.
So Rick, thank you for, sharing about your experience in, a Buddhist community which had issues. All Buddhist communities have issues. All human beings have issues, but there's an amplitude that is really requires moving through the experience of betrayal to how can I actualize the gifts that I have received. And it's going to be wonderful to see how you actualize this gift that you have around art, imagination, mischief, and embodiment. And having it not just be, in the sort of general public, see, how it can actually make its way into chaplaincy in an applied way. And it's a beautiful project. And you've been through the fires, Sangha fires. Gosh, quite a few people in our training have, had kind of brokenheartedness over, being in the transition out of the community that you were a part of. And so I congratulate you for having the nerve to step into this one to the extent that you are, and taking the gifts from here out into the world. And thank you so much.
Thank you, Roshi.
Thank you, Rick. Rosalind Sue Misser, Framing Well-Being, the four faces of love, the Brahma Viharas, and animal-assisted chaplaincy. Yoka.
Well, the last couple of years have been absolutely wonderful and enriching, and I'd like to thank you both very, very much for this opportunity to be part of the Upaya Chaplaincy program. I have really grown a lot, and I came to my paper through the work that I was doing at a rest home, a hospice, and a hospital with my service dog, Ebony. And I found that she brought so much joy into these situations that I was in. And you don't often think of joy in these situations when I'm sitting with a family whose family member has hours to live, or I'm at the bedside of somebody in the hospital who dies a day or two later. And Ebony, through her loving kindness, personality, and just being who she is, brought so much joy into this situation. And that's why I focused on the Brahma Viharas. But going forward, I will be doing more work with Ebony in the hospice environment in Christchurch. And I will also be working on a new program that's just been established, No One Dies Alone. And I'm hoping to bring what I've learned over the last 2 years to that work. So thank you very, very much, both of you.
Thank you, Sue. Firstly, I hope you're feeling a little bit better right now. I know it's been a rough few days, to say the least. I'm so touched by how you took a very tender and special relationship in your life with Ebony and shared her with the world in your path of service, and only made the path brighter, through this furry little being that brings love and light and joy along with you. And the two of you are such a pair. And I said this before, but Ebony is also a reflection of you. She's an extension of you. And I really deeply value our animals and the love they open up in our hearts. And I'm just very grateful for your skillful means of bringing this beautiful little being along with you to the bedside, to end of life, to suffering, to pain. It's just really, really lovely. And your final project was just beautiful. So thank you for sharing Ebony with us and sharing your love, your Brahma Viharas with us.
Thank you very much, Mary.
Awesome. You know how we all feel that you're here, you've come so far, but now, you have to kind of huddle down. I wish we could make it instantly better. But anyway, this is you've been given the chance to retreat and use it well. And as many people have been moved by your work, not just the direct beneficiaries of you and Ebony, but also those of us who have seen the importance of this undefended relationship between our creatures and us, and the value of having that sensibility actualized in the final journey that we're going to take. So I thank you, and great blessings upon you, dear friend, and may you feel better soon. And in the meantime, just heap, and hopefully the Upaya food is being brought to you. And you have no responsibilities except to rest and recover. And great heart to you.
Thank you, Roshi.
I just want to say, has anyone brought you lunch? Because that's usually me.
Not yet.
We'll figure it out. Okay.
We're just starting lunch now, so I'll make sure Senko brings something.
Thank you.
And
Okay.
second wave. Thank you, Mioka. Kirsten Carroll, from the Rainbow Bridge to the gates of Valhalla, coming alongside those grieving pet loss.
Hello. My project highlights the importance of coming alongside those grieving from pet loss, and additionally hospice with their animals and other forms of related suffering. Our bonds with our animals are so deep, but so is the pain under these circumstances. And so my paper explores the ways that chaplains can be with people on these journeys and how they can use the 3 tenets in this work.
Kirsten, you're made for this. This is exactly what you're built for. There was a picture that you had in your final project of, I forget what you called them, those 3 beautiful dogs.
The big ears. Yeah.
The big ears.
Yeah.
And the way that they were looking up at you, it was such a beautiful moment that you captured. And I'm also struck at the power of you and your chaplaincy, which really for me was transmitted in your final presentation. We have yet to meet, but I feel that I know you quite well, and we've had so many beautiful, intimate conversations over the past years, and I'm just grateful that you're doing this work. I'm grateful that you're here. I'm grateful that you had the tenacity and the grit to really be here in this moment now. I know it took quite a bit. So thank you for that. Thank you for that offering. And thank you for this particular service that you're giving in the world for those grieving the loss of those that they love.
Thank you so much, Mary. Love you so much.
Love you too.
Beautiful work. So important. And as I said yesterday, that over the years, a number of veterinarians have come through Upaya, including the being with dying training, and spoken about the trauma they carry and the grief they carry. And I also know it, as probably most of us online know the experience when a pet dies, the genuine brokenheartedness. And it activates all kinds of other griefs in us. So this work is just really important. And I'm so grateful for what you are doing. And then I'm grateful, how Sue and you, it's just interesting. Also, Sue bringing, the 4-legged fur babies, into, which activates, that innocence that many of us experience when we're with our fur babies. So thank you so much, dear one.
Thank you, Roshi.
Beth Coyote, Elder Women, Elder Trees, Finding Awe in a Fractured World.
I'm feeling kind of sad and glad at the same time. It's interesting because I'm like, oh, this is almost over. Oh no, it's almost over. It's interesting. So I'm sitting with that kind of ambivalence. And, my project was really, I was looking for the sacred in the ordinary. Who are the everyday bodhisattvas that are among us? Unheralded, perhaps unknown, unseen, and as an antidote to the suffering in this world. And as someone who is an aspiring bodhisattva, what does that look like? And I looked around me. I didn't have to look very far because there are trees that we can access. There are green places where we can go. And in the Pacific Northwest, there are enormous old growth trees. And if you've ever stood next to one of them, you feel awe, which is the connection that I made between elders of the human and the non-human world. It was this sense of awe, this sense of wonder that these beings exhibit because they've been here for a while. And those bristlecone pines that you saw in my little video yesterday are over 5,000 years old. 5,000 years old. They're older than the pyramids. Oh, that's what I felt. And I got married next to those trees. And, you know, so that sense of, I wanted to tap into the sense of joy and happiness that this path brings me. Because there's so much suffering. What is the antidote to that? And so, and something I wanted to share with you, Roshi, when you said yesterday about planting trees at Upaya, I didn't mention this, but there's a green belt behind my house. And me and my crew have planted over 100 trees behind. Yeah. And we've also taken out, you know, blackberries and invasive species, and we've taken garbage out, and it's happening all over this city. There are these crews of people that are doing this work, and we're muddy and we get scratched up, and we have this community of people who come together to do this work. It's so beautiful. We have there's a campaign right now called The Last 6,000, and it's to hold fast to our heritage trees, because we're losing old trees in our city. Developers are just taking them down and paying the fine. And so right now there's a tree that young people are sitting in, like Julia Butterfly Hill did it back in the 80s. They're sitting, they have platforms, and they're sitting in this tree. How beautiful. And that's really what if I want anything, I want to embody that. I want to embody that, the sense of wonder, the sense of what is here, that's right before us, right? And the person who taught us how to plant trees, because they were these little saplings, you know, little Doug firs and little cedar saplings, he showed us how to dig a hole. And believe me, there's more to it than you would realize. You had to dig a hole, it had to be deep enough. You had to knock out all the dirt from around the tree and then combine it with what the tree is going into. And then you tamp it all down and make sure there's no pockets of air. And then, you know what he said? He said, give the tree its first breath. Breathe on the tree. My midwife heart leapt because I have given babies their first breath a few times. You know, it just was it was this interweaving of the human and the non-human world. How beautiful that is. So again, I am so grateful that I stumbled onto this path with my dear friend Rachel. It was an accident, but I'm really glad that it's a happy accident. And so, you know, if I could say anything, love the earth. Love this earth, because it is so full of magic and beauty. And I'm going to say the last two lines in that David Wagner poem, which is, the trees know where you are. You must let them find you. So to all of you at Upaya, and all of my dear chaplaincy support people, and all of this people on this screen, I love you all. Thank you.
Beth, you're on fire. And I love it. I'm in awe of you and what you give life to. You know, you just giving life to life over and over and over. And it's just taken on a new face and form in the natural world now. And I'm just so grateful for what you doula into this space that we share, and what joy you're bringing to it, and that your age and your life experience are your gifts of wisdom, and we are the beneficiaries. So you go have a beautiful time in this next chapter and plant away. And I look forward to spending more time with you on the path. And I really appreciate your artistry. You are a real artist. So thank you for sharing that too.
Well, needless to say, in relation to our current politics, the upholding of the venerable, whether it's a tree or a human being, is a good thing right now. So, sorry, I shouldn't bring it up, but I put on Facebook, 81 is just a beginning. Everybody thought it was my birthday. I was actually saying, you know, Biden and I have something in common, and we ain't stopping. So I was getting all these birthday greetings. I was at, whoops, I probably wasn't clear enough, but also I get dissed when I go political, but boy, do I sure feel political. And it, you know, just as old people are being taken down, whether they're warehoused and trees are being, the venerables of this earth are being cut down, your work is just, it's a resacralizing of the world, of forests and of the standing magnificence of our protectors and the generator of oxygen into our very atmosphere. So I would say, though grasses also generate lots of oxygen, and shrubs do too, and I'm sure blackberry bushes do too, but the trees remind us, you know, of how rooted we are in the past, and that the tree also is a symbol of connecting heaven and earth. And your sense of stewarding, protecting, opening up, creating community in this world of trees is just wonderful. So thank you so much. And it ain't bad to be old, I'll just tell you.
Yeah.
Ask any old tree, they'll tell you.
Right.
Liz Reynolds, Chaplaining Spiritual Community, Eco-Dharma in the Anthropocene.
Hi, everyone. I just have to say I'm loving going after you, Beth, both times. This has just been so fun. My project honestly feels pretty far away. It was based on eco-dharma and eco-chaplaincy, and yeah, I got to interview some lovely people. I learned a lot. I think what I come away from this project with is a sense of gratitude for the way that here it's just a kind of a common foundation that a spiritual path necessitates service, and that our goal here has been to understand what our unique paths of service are. I think I have definitely come away with that. I feel much more grounded in myself and my own path. And the project was a big part of that for me. So I think I'll leave it at that. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Liz. Yeah, the work that you have been doing in the cemetery and the community building through that work, and really kind of revealed a communal interest and longing to come together, to respect life, to acknowledge death. And I think my impressions of you, again, is that your gifts are linked with community and community building. And I'm so curious and encouraging towards your path ahead in that direction. And again, in your own light, in your own unique spiritual formation, as it deeply resonates for you. I really honor and respect that. And that, you know, my prayer is that the past 2 years also helped clarify that for you in various ways, maybe unexpected ways too. But thank you for showing up. Thank you for your deep participation and Let's please stay in touch along the way. Thank you.
Liz, thank you so much for upholding the work of Joanna Macy. And I'm just grateful for you building the kind of relationship between Joanna's work, which is not only about the environment in the general sense of the natural world, but also it's about our relationship with each other and how we meet a world that is imperiled. I'm so grateful. Thank you. And I look forward to you visiting Upaya one day. Joanna's spirit is very present here.
Thanks, Liz. Tom Quinn, Putting Eco-Spirituality to Work, Environmental Ministry and Chaplaincy.
I'm sorry I had to keep going after these wonderful presentations. So my thesis was on Buddhist eco-chaplaincy with its foundations in contemplative practice, Buddhist environmental philosophy, Buddhist environmental ethics, and engaged Buddhism. And it seems to me that it's the secret sauce that we need. So many activists are so anguished and angry and lost, and they use the unskillful means of the dominant culture. And if we can shine a light on that and turn it around to the skillful means that are taught by Buddhism and exemplified in the Bodhisattva model, maybe, just maybe, we'll get through the next few decades.
Tom, thank you. Your final project is truly, it's cohesive and integrative, and I think is going to be a very valuable resource in the field of eco-chaplaincy and eco-dharma moving forward for our community here at Upaya and beyond. I hope that you explore potentially publishing it. And I just want to offer a deep bow to your tenderness and how your tenderness has been offered up as a real gift to this cohort and to this community. I've learned a lot from you, and I thank you for that. And I've learned in ways that may never get fully expressed, but in this moment, I hope you feel my bow to you. I'm grateful for you.
Thank you, Mary. I learned a little bit from you too.
Oh. Well, Tom, I just want to say I've so appreciated the number of resources that you have continually sent to help evolve this field of eco-dharma, eco-chaplaincy. It's just been wonderful. And I stand very close next to Mary and just, watching your life kind of bloom in the embrace of this community who has experienced a lot of appreciation for what you've brought forward. And you're not, let's see, where are you, Tom? I forget in what part of the world.
I'm in Maryland.
Right. Yeah. Well, one day I hope you make your way out here. It's you can get a flight on Southwest right to Albuquerque, but you're probably like me, not wanting to get on too many airplanes, but nonetheless, sometimes the call is strong, and deep appreciation for what you have done and also your path forward.
Thank you. And you probably don't remember I was there in 1999.
Oh, well, I guarantee I don't remember. And you won't recognize the place. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Well, come back.
Forward to it. Looking forward to it.
Lots of trees have been planted since you were here.
I was 14. Okay, thank you. Skylar.
There, I was trying to unmute.
Sorry, wait. I didn't read your.
Sorry.
Nourishing the ecological self, eco-chaplaincy as a path for sustaining life.
Whew. So I just want to look at both of you for a minute and feel like I'm in the same room with you. I just love you. I really love you both.
Love you too.
You are such unique, wonderful, heart-filled, brilliant women. And that is so important to me. And that's part of why I'm in this program. So my thesis was originally, I wrote 2 full project proposals. The first one was, who am I as I age? Back to what you were just talking about, Roshi. Who am I as I age? Meditative awareness practices, agency, and community. And it was approved for me to move forward and had to do with developing new ways, I'm looking at the sentence, new ways of being old, in quotes, that transcend terms like senior citizen and elderly. There just seemed to be no way to even refer to us. But then somehow in the process of all that, as I said yesterday, I really realized that what I wanted was to listen to my heart. And my original title for this current one was My Heart Calls Me to Love the Land, Eco-Chaplaincy and What It Can Become. And somewhere in the process of this, I really got that I didn't have to walk away from my work with organizations and teaching and all that I had done, but to somehow step into this world that I knew nothing about, which it really felt like I was doing a high school paper on eco-chaplaincy at first because I knew nothing about it. And there's one sentence that didn't make it into the final one, but I want to bring it in the space. I choose the term eco-chaplain over environmental chaplain to honor Otto Scharmer's distinction, because he speaks about all of us moving to eco, so that humans are moving from ego to eco-based systems, from systems rooted in hierarchy, competition, and habitual thinking to generative ecosystems focused on the well-being of all beings and nourished by collective creativity and action. So by eco-chaplain, I mean a chaplain who is part of and serves the interdependence of all beings for the long-term vitality of all and the earth. I think I should put that back in whatever I write. Any way I can contribute to what Upaya does with eco-chaplaincy and how Upaya contributes towards that being a vital force in the world and all of us being a vital force in the world, I fully commit to.
Thank you, Catherine. Your commitment is so plain to see. And it is really kind of jaw-dropping to see the level of integrations that you're putting together from your own personal lived experience as becoming an aging being to all your life experience, all your education, all your work with organizations, and now this living by vow and responsibility that you're deeply embodying in the world. So I look at you and I just see this really deep movement of integration happening, and it's very powerful. And I feel like in ways you're just getting started. And this is a new threshold that you're coming into. And I'm just so grateful that we're here together on this path, and you know, let's do this work. Let's partner and do this work as it arises, as we see the need. So thank you so much for all that you've given and all that you are to give ahead. Deep bow to you.
It's so beautiful that you pivoted into this landscape, so to speak. And I'm just so thrilled that what you and Tom, Beth, and others have brought into focus is the importance of whatever we call it, eco-chaplaincy, eco-dharma, environmental, we don't even have a name. As I said yesterday, you're a very important contributor to this new field, new path, new way of seeing. And I just, as always, your work is impeccable, and also it's very, very fresh, Catherine. So I bow to you in gratitude and look forward to seeing you back here when the time is right. And, you know, great appreciation.
Gloria Wong, co-curricular approaches to enhancing university students' mental well-being, integrating spirituality and the five wisdom energies model through the Buddhist chaplaincy perspective.
You're unmuted.
Yes. So this project aims to let university students have a taste of mindfulness, and also to connect with the Buddha inside them, the wisdom energy, and so that they have more resource to meet challenges and difficulties in life. And this project really opens the space in my heart, which allows courage and power. And the training in the past 2 years empower me to walk the path in future. And thank you. Thank you.
Gloria, what time is it where you are?
5 a.m.
You are something. I mean, just really deep bow to your strength and tenacity, and maybe a little bit of craziness to do this program, you know, from your home, but just the right amount of insanity, you know, with the right mix of call to meet this world and to offer your compassionate heart. Talk about courage and strength. You are truly full of it. And I'm just also personally so deeply grateful as a mother of an 11-year-old to see your work for our younger beings in this world who are truly in a different complex of challenges socially, with technology, the education system. Mental health is really struggling. So your service has such a place. And I'm just so grateful, Gloria. It's been such a wild and beautiful path to share with you, and just get some sleep for me, okay? Thank you.
I don't know what's going on with Hong Kong, but it's so great that Peggy, Wendy, Ernst, you, and I think we have one other candidate somewhere in our past from Hong Kong. Agnes, right, you're right. So our Hong Kong family is very touching, particularly since Wendy and I are so close. You know, I kind of have an ear out for things Hong Kong. And part of that ear really perked up when I jumped into your project, because I realized how education is in the the context in which, the culture in which you find yourself. In fact, Wendy just walked in, my Hong Kong younger sister, and how important it is to create bridges out of the stricter structure, top-down kind of learning that is typical in that culture to really open up, ignite the imagination. It's so cool what you're doing. So thank you. And Wendy is smiling. I'm smiling. And, you know, we ought to start a kind of, maybe Mary, a sort of subgroup, I don't want to say co-group of the Hong Kong contingent.
It's a great idea.
Yeah, it's wonderful. No, it is pretty, I mean, you know, Wendy's here and Agnes is in Canada. But Peggy's still in Hong Kong. Ernest is, you know, in Canada, and but you're in Hong Kong, and we want to give you a lot of support to continue with what you're doing. It's great.
Gloria and Eric Hammerstrom, Values of Shin Buddhist Spiritual Care.
Thank you, Roshi. Thank you, Mary, for everything. As I am working through my third unit of CPE, I'm reminded every day of the support I received from you in this program, and I'm learning new things every day from this program. And I'm sure that will continue even after it ends. It said that the Buddha taught 84,000 Dharma gates, and the light of wisdom and compassion shines through all of them. My paper is an attempt to both integrate my dual practice of Soto Zen and Jodo Shinshu, but also to highlight and bring back into the story the long and rich and very active history of Shin Buddhists involved in spiritual care.
Thank you, Eric. Deeply appreciate your offering of interreligious education through your final project. And also just over the past 2 years, again, how you really have taken to heart your spiritual formation as a chaplain and been so open to what may have felt quite foreign at times. And to me, that is such the spirit of chaplaincy too, that kind of openness and welcome and hospitality to things that are new. And you really, you've been such a gentle presence over the past 2 years and a deeply kind one. And I always appreciated taking a gaze upon your face on the screen, because you always were emanating a kind of presence and kindness. And I think you really embody a chaplain in such a natural way. So just thank you for who you are and what you're bringing to this work and this field.
So Eric, thank you. I really appreciate your academic rigor, but that's just my preference, sort of. I also really appreciate you bridging Shin Buddhism with the Soto school. And I look forward to a longer collaboration with you in the future, as I think the perspective that you've unfolded is extremely valuable for what we're doing in the chaplaincy training. And anyway, I was very uplifted and also educated by your project. So deepest thanks, and may your life go well, and may your practice flourish to benefit others.
Thank you so much.
And bless Shinran.
Yes.
Well, Mary.
Yes.
I know. We are so grateful to you, to all of you. Your integrity in this process, your perseverance, also the beauty that you unfolded through your struggles and your discoveries, and the courage to move through this process, to know that the chaplain's path is one that will unfold as if you take it sincerely for the rest of your life. It is a continuous practice, a continuous path of discovery. And all of you aspiring bodhisattvas, I hope that you will come safely to Upaya, enjoy the beauty here, and understand we are still in this post-pandemic phase, as Mary has seen, finding how to have our temple doors open and at the same time to serve those who come through our temple doors in a way that is righteous and joyful. So, my dear collaborator and friend, Mary.
It's been such a day. I'm like buzzing with energy. My heart is so open right now. And to see all your faces and to just really honor the love that you've put forth over this incredible process, kind of revolutionary, evolutionary process we go through in this training. And I look at each of you and I see a Buddhist chaplain. I see someone who is walking the walk of allowing their life to be a commitment of compassion, of easing suffering and beneficence. And you all have rubbed up against each other in so many ways that have molded you into something brighter and more true and more authentic, more open. And I feel so fortunate. I feel humbly fortunate to be able to bear witness to this process and bear witness to each of you. And thank you for your trust. And thank you for walking along also with me, and for your trust in me too. And I look at this also as, yes, a closure moment, but also it is a new beginning from here too. And community continues. And we'll have an opportunity in just a little bit to have counsel together to really savor that and really tap into some moments of deep sharing from the heart with one another as we come to this beautiful conclusion and beautiful celebration of spiritual friendship. Thank you all so much. Yeah, Roshi.
I just thought, since we're in the company of bodhisattvas, once again, affirming the 4 vows of the bodhisattvas together. Creations are numberless. I vow to free them. Delusions are inexhaustible. I vow to transform them. Reality is boundless. I vow to perceive it. The awakened way is unsurpassable. I vow to embody it. Thank you, dear friends.